is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee. Thursday on Main Street Sports Today. Welcome into the program, and on the show today we'll be joined in our coach's corner by Cane Ridge head basketball coach Marlin Simms ahead of their state tournament run next week. Also, Heather Williams in the second half, talk a little NASCAR from WCYB-TV out of Bristol, Tennessee, and our team and players of the week will react to Vandy whipping up on Georgia last night. Yes, we'll talk about that for sure. Stars all around, and this is Main Street Sports Today. Now to the Hall of Famer and Sports Writer of the Year, Mo Patton, with the Sundrop Kid from Alabama and 2006 Time Person of the Year, Chris Yao. Our basketball's upside down today, but that's okay. Oh, it's upside down Thursday. Happy Thursday, guys.
I have thoughts. Don't worry. Our basketball is upside down.
Okay. It's
all
right.
It's some youngsters around here sometimes who make their way to the basketball.
We're gonna need to start locking that door.
So apparently, hope you guys are doing great.
Folks got jokes.
It is a beautiful day in the neighborhood here in Columbia. We are getting ready to, I am refreshing Twitter like a madman, trying to figure out if MLB PA and MLB are going to remain locked out, and it does appear they will. It does not. Yep, the MLB PA has apparently voting against it, against the MLB's latest. Anyway, we'll get into it. Let's get into it. Let's get into all of it. JP told you what we got going on. We got a great show coming up. So first thing we're going to do is give you some results. I'm not going to say yesterday's results because it does include some of today. Tournament play, it just becomes results and schedule because you'll get some of tomorrow's schedule. You'll get some.
And we will try to tell you which ones were yesterday and which ones were today, but we may not be perfect.
We've never been perfect, so we will never. We are never going to act like we will be. So let's get into it. Results and schedule on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
In Wednesday basketball action at the high school level, state tournament play. These are all Class 3A quarterfinal scores. Upperman defeated Elizabethton 59-42. It was Creekwood with a 43-40 win over Fayette Ware. In Class 4A, a couple of hometown favorites go down hard. Bearden defeats Blackman 56-34, and Cookville defeats Oakland 67-54. A couple of former district rivals there. Farragut with the 50-38 win over Rossview, and Beach defeats Arlington 62-53.
This morning, Wayne County down to Cloudland 51-28 in Class 1A play, and then other 1A play, it was Dresden 50 and Van Buren County 33. In NCAA men's action last night, as JP told you, Vanderbilt 86, Georgia 51. Ding, ding, ding. Missouri in Kermit Davis's year 72-60 over Ole Miss. Just finishing up moments ago, Texas A&M in overtime 83-80 over the Gators.
Baseball action, that game that we discussed yesterday between Tennessee and James Madison that ended 7-all and was suspended. They completed the suspended game, Tennessee with a 10-8 walk-off win over the Dukes. In the regularly scheduled game on Wednesday, it was the Vols 10, James Madison 2. Softball action on Wednesday, North Florida defeated Tennessee State 6-0. And in junior college softball, Vol State with a sweep of St. Clair County 11-1 and 10-2.
Today's schedule currently going on. Gleason taking on Clay County in 1A action. Gleason, the Bulldogs, winning 43-32 over the Bulldogs of Clay County. So that's taking place. And after that, McKenzie and North Green will finish up the Class 1A quarterfinals. Later this afternoon in the Class 2A semifinals, Gatlinburg-Pittman and York Institute at 4:30 and Alcoa-Westview in the nightcap at 6.
In Friday's Class 3A semifinals that are already set, it's Page and Jackson Southside at 10 o'clock Friday morning, followed by Upperman and Creekwood at 11:30. Class 4A semifinal matchup will be Beach and Bearden at 1:15.
And in NCAA men's action, Missouri and LSU should be starting here momentarily. I don't think they're in progress just quite yet. Vanderbilt and Alabama, the nightcap in Tampa at 7 o'clock. You can see on the SEC Network. Middle Tennessee State and UTEP will be taking the floor at 8 p.m. on Stadium. And in women's action right now, Middle Tennessee State currently leads Southern Miss 6-2. You can see that on ESPN+.
NHL action tonight. The Anaheim Ducks are at Bridgestone Arena taking on the Nashville Predators. That's a 7 o'clock puck drop on ESPN+. In baseball, currently, right now, it's all Cumberland all the time. The University of the Cumberlands are playing in Lebanon against Cumberland University. So that's UC and CU. That's a doubleheader. First game was at 12. Second game supposedly at 3 o'clock. Softball action also. UC at CU. Games at 1 and 3. St. Cloud State out of Minnesota taking on Trevecca at 4:45. And in the MTSU Invitation, Northern Iowa faced the Lady Raiders at 12 noon today. And at 4 o'clock today, it will be the Lady Skyhawks of UT Martin taking on MTSU.
That is today's rundown. All right, so Southern Miss has taken a 7-6 lead over MTSU women right now. I still don't see any firm tweets from media right this second, but John Heyman's latest tweet 2 minutes ago: team votes are coming in now, delivered by player reps. So far, they are in favor. So far, players are going against executive council. The executive council of the union voted negatively. So looks like most of the teams are like, we want to play. And we can only get 162 in if we go to spring training tonight.
Now. Yeah.
And that is possible. If there's a deal done, if this vote is to accept, they'll go to spring training tonight tomorrow. Free agency will start tonight, which means Freddie Freeman will be in Atlanta Brave again tomorrow morning. And it will be our top story.
Might be our only story.
No, seriously. So that's our top story for today. Major League Baseball continues to hammer things out. And here's the thing. I'm glad that they're continuing to hammer things out. They're keeping it. They're doing what they're supposed to do.
Everybody's doing their due diligence.
They're at least talking. Yeah. Not like December and January
when they weren't
talking at all. So what a great show we had, Mo. You know, with SEC tournament going on, it's been a really good morning, really good night last night. Basketball at the high school level continuing to be really good. NASCAR is coming up this weekend. We're going to talk with Heather Williams, and I even left you a link in there to give you all that you need to know, just the basics about Phoenix Motor Speedway, so that way you will be up to speed. Nice.
Gave me a little cheat sheet.
I did. And then the Titans, well, they got a lot going on. So signing some folks, cutting some folks. We'll talk about all of that.
Has there been a quarterback traded yet today?
No, but I did read where there is one particular quarterback who's on a lot of teams' radars. So I'm interested to see if – I don't think he's going to be back with his current team. That's what I got.
Oh, I bet I know.
I bet you do too.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get out of here. Come back with Marlin Simms, Cane Ridge boys basketball coach. We'll also hand out some hardware. So stick around. Main Street Sports Today returns after this. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck, yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Welcome back into Main Street Sports today as we continue our coverage of the latest and greatest in high school sports, but also sports from around the country. This segment, though, we're going to stick right here in Middle Tennessee as we have a couple of hardware bits to hand out before we get to our Coach's Corner. But this should be fun because we get a chance to talk about two of Southern Middle Tennessee's finest, starting with the End to End Life Team of the Week, presented by our friends at Custom Stone Handlers. And what a week it was for the Santa Fe boys, making their first ever trip to the sectional round of the state playoffs. Of course, eventually falling to West Carroll on Monday, but that wasn't last week.
Nope. That was not considered in our Team of the Week, our End to Win Life Team of the Week consideration, because it was not in that week. So, in the week in question, Santa Fe won 2 ball games by a total of 5 points.
Doesn't matter how you win it.
Just win it.
Just win, baby.
Colton Stewart with a 3-pointer to push the Wildcats past Fayetteville 45-43 in the Region 5-1A semifinals. Alden Slaughter with a 3-pointer to down Richland 41-38 in the Region 5-1A finals. So 3-pointers falling for the Wildcats last week in a couple of big victories to also clinch the End to Win Life Team of the Week honor.
And for the Player of the Week, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, we go to Lawrence County, down to Summertown, the lone senior for the Lady Eagles, Katie Burdett.
Katie Burdett getting it done, averaged 18.3 points in 3 ball games for the Lady Eagles. Unfortunately, they were 2-1 in those 3 ball games, but she did have 20 points in their 62-53 win over Loretto for the Region 5-2A championship. So big ups to Katie Burdett of Summertown, the Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Player of the Week.
That's it. All right. Now we get a chance to talk about some boys hoops from the highest classification as we go to Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe out in Chapel Hill. If you are looking for the best sandwiches, burgers, and desserts on that side of the Duck River, there's no better place than From the Heart Cafe. Just as if you're going to Henry Horton, it's right on the right before you get to the park. So keep an eye out and go in and see Renee and the folks there who are serving up the best food in Chapel Hill and the Southern Middle Tennessee area. We go now to the phone lines where Cane Ridge boys basketball coach Marlin Simms joins us. Coach, thanks for taking some time with us. We appreciate it.
Hey guys, how y'all doing today?
Coach, how are you doing?
I can't complain. Just getting no sleep right now. You know how it goes this time of year. Trying to get ready for the state tournament next week. So,
well, I guess when you get to this time of year, you'd rather not be sleeping than sleeping, because if you are, that means you're not in it.
I tell you what, I tell people all the time. When it comes to basketball, you don't want to have a Christmas break and you don't want to have a spring break. So you try to take advantage of fall break. So, been blessed the last 2 years not to have a spring break. So yeah, I'm gonna try to take my best, take advantage of the opportunity. So there you go. That's
fantastic. The Ravens, featuring Alabama signee Brandon Miller, heading to Murfreesboro with a 25-6 record after their sectional win on Monday night over Walker Valley. And Coach, I had a chance to see you guys back in late November, early December, I guess, when you played down at Independence, and it was a 66-60 Cane Ridge victory. And what I came away from that game with was, if folks want to look at y'all as Brandon Miller and a bunch of other guys, they should do so at their own peril.
Well, I hope that is the case, but that's what we get a lot of nights, especially when it comes to media coverage or whatever it might be. And I'm pretty sure some people scouting for it. Slow down Brandon and hope the rest happens. But we got the really good pieces around Brandon. We got Ryan Oliver, Jalen Lawrence, Josh McDaniel, Deron Hall, Clarence Cobbins, our sixth man off the bench. We got some really good pieces around them. Kelvin Luff stepped in and played really well when Ryan was out earlier in the season. So I think if you were at that game, you didn't even see Ryan, because Ryan didn't start playing until Christmas break. He sprained his ankle warming up for the Lebanon game, the first game of the season. So, we got some depth. We're a pretty good basketball team. And again, like I said, it's not just about Brandon. Brandon's special. Brandon makes us go. But over the end of the day, it takes a team. It takes every one of those kids to come together each and every day. So.
And one thing I saw that night, Coach, in particular, and again, that's the only opportunity I've had to see you all, unfortunately, he doesn't have to force himself onto the game, if that makes sense.
And yeah, it does. And the amazing part about it, I don't think he wants to. Like, he's matured as a basketball player. He's not one of those kids now. I think maybe a sophomore year, junior year probably, he wanted to score 20 points in the first quarter. I think the last 2 to 3 games, I don't think he scored in the first quarter. And he's ended up each game with 30 points. So he's figured out how to score. He's figured out how to score in bunches. He's figured out how to let the game come to him. And the other kids have really taken advantage of the opportunity. We've got some really good stuff with Ryan. Ryan has really taken it upon himself. And Jalen and Josh have really taken it upon themselves to really be there. And Deron on the offensive backboard. Deron has really been an active body for us. And Brandon's been a willing passer. And I think that's the part of his game that people really don't get to see, the fact he's a willing passer. He wants his teammates to be great too. So,
speaking here with Marlin Simms, Cane Ridge boys basketball coach, getting ready for their Class 4A quarterfinal matchup and a rematch of last year's quarterfinal game against Bearden. That game will take place next Wednesday, I think. When is the game? I didn't even look that part up.
Wednesday at 4:30.
Okay.
Wednesday at 4:30 at the MTSU.
All right, and coming off of it, first off, you're in the first ever state tournament at the Class 4A level. This has never happened before. Mm-hmm. But this is not unusual, because you did make it to the state finals of the state's highest classification last year before a loss to Houston. What does your team take from that experience last year into this tournament coming up next week?
I think at the end of the day, when you look at the situation, take advantage of the opportunities in front of you. I think last year, I think we're just happy to be there. We're excited for the opportunity to compete at the state tournament, and everything was a surprise to everybody. So I think after each game, we celebrated and treated it as if we just won a national championship or a state championship. But this year's been more of a business-like approach. The kids really haven't celebrated after a win yet. Do they get excited? Yeah, by themselves. But as far as like showing that emotion that we showed last year, I don't think they've done that. They really understood that this season is this season and taking advantage of this opportunity and being ready to play and lock in. Houston was a really, really good basketball team. They really hit us in the mouth last year. I don't think we were ready for what was coming that night. But to even get there was special for us. We really appreciate the opportunity that the Metro National Public Schools gave us to even compete in TSAA. So,
Cane Ridge 25-6 again heading into this quarterfinal matchup with Bearden.
0 losses to
in-state opposition. In fact, have not lost a game in 2022. The last loss coming to Christian Brothers of Missouri over in the King Cotton Classic over in Pine Bluff. But again, 0 losses to in-state competition, 0 losses in 2022, taking a 17-game winning streak into Murfreesboro. Coach, obviously you want to win, but 17 straight, does that concern you? And a lot of these are by pretty significant margins. I say a 56-54 win over Laverne back in early February, and everything else has not been terribly close, which is fine until you play somebody terribly close.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, if you have a mature basketball club, a mature team, you truly understand how to take each game by game. That's what we try to do. We try to be 1-0 every night. And so never look above, never look at like, are we guys on a winning streak, or hey, this week let's go 3-0, or this week let's go 2-0. Let's just win tonight. And so, again, I think when you have a kid like Brandon and Ryan and Jalen that's been through the fire, and Clarence, those kids that, as freshmen, got beat by Brentwood in the region quarterfinals, and the next year we lose the Summit in the region quarterfinals, and last year, we get always to the state championship game. They've been through the fire. So they understand it's a game by game process, and it's not, you can't look ahead. And so I've really been proud of the kids for that, just not looking ahead each night, just focus on that one night and how can we win tonight. So,
Coach, you again played a lot of out-of-state competition. I mean, before Christmas, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 games against out-of-state competition. Went out to Oregon for a tournament. Went up to Marshall County, Kentucky for their tournament, and again the King Cotton over in Arkansas. How do you feel like that competition has prepared you for this second half, the most important half of your season?
Well, I'll tell you what. Looking at those teams, we played some really good basketball teams. We really have. We played against I look at the Kentucky Hoop Fest. We played against a team that was the defending state champion in Kentucky. The two teams we played against are both playing in the state tournament in Kentucky right now. We went to Oregon. Every team we played against Oregon is in the state tournament, final Sweet 16 of their state tournament. Then you go to Arkansas, and you run into North Little Rock, who features 2 McDonald's All-Americans. And so at the end of the day, you feel like you've been battle tested. You feel like play a Christian Brothers team with a really athletic 7-footer and a very good point guard. I think going to Indiana State or Indiana, one of those Missouri Valley schools. So at the end of the day, you play some really good competition. Again, coming into our new district this year, I didn't know what to expect, but I tell people all the time, I've been doing this is my 19th season. No one has wanted to see me out of town coach a basketball game. So really, it's been about Brandon, and people want to see Brandon play all around the country. And so just blessed for the opportunity to have an opportunity to play and to showcase our basketball team. But again, it's battle tested. We played some really, really good basketball teams. Like, Bearden reminds us of a couple of teams we played in Oregon, and along with the athleticism, though, of North Little Rock. So there's not nothing we haven't seen this season, so I'm blessed to say that. There's not a defense we haven't seen this year. We've been double teamed, triple teamed. We've been boxing one. We've been face guarded. We've been just laid off, let him score, see if we can stop everybody else. So we've seen it all, and that's the blessed part of our schedule. We've seen it all. We played against some great competition, and hopefully going into this week that pays off. The next week in Murfreesboro. So.
It took a second for what you said to sink in with me, Coach, but none of these games out of state were Marlin Simms and the Cane Ridge Ravens. Is that what you're saying?
No one in 18 years, no one has ever called me say, could you bring your team out of state so we can watch you coach? Not one person has done it. So,
well, I think they're missing out, Coach. I think they're missing out.
I don't, but okay, we'll go with it. I appreciate those nice words, but it is truly a blessing to be a part of Brandon Miller and his family and his small group of people. It really is. It's truly a blessing to be part of that and to enjoy the journey. I think on my wall right now, I'm looking at right now. Enjoy the journey. Just enjoy the journey, and that's my thing to the kids. Enjoy the journey. And my coach looked at me yesterday and said, "Hey, Coach, you got to enjoy the journey too." So again, I might try to get a little sleep tonight, but just at some point, just enjoy the journey. So.
You're going to be putting some mileage on your vehicle here next couple of years, running down to Tuscaloosa from time to time.
I definitely will be doing that. I went to Brandon wanted me to go to a coach's clinic down there to meet Coach Oates when they had a coach's clinic. I drove down there, and Coach Oates was so busy. And you know me, Mo. I'm not about to bother nobody with my time. So as soon as the clinic was over and Coach Oates looked really busy, I just got in my car and drove back. And Brandon's like, "Hey, you talk to him?" I'm like, "No, Brandon, he was busy." I went, "He wanted to meet you." I said, "Brandon, I understand, but I ain't gonna do that." So, but he came to a basketball game. We were in Arkansas. Me and Coach Oates sat down and had a really good conversation. He's really excited to have Brandon be part of that program. He was a math teacher just like myself, just a few short years ago. Just the things God do for you. He's a math teacher in high school in Michigan. A few short years ago, now he's the head coach of University of Alabama. It's just truly a blessing if you keep working hard, you're a good person, and you treat people the right way. So.
Cane Ridge basketball coach Marlin Simms here on Coach's Corner. Coach, thank you so much for taking some time with us. Good luck. We will do we certainly hope to see you next week. We hope to be in the building on Friday, and hopefully your team will be playing during our show. So good luck once again, and we appreciate you taking some time.
Well, man, I want to say thank you. I always try to, I see Mo, thank you. And same to you. I just thank you for everything I do for high school athletics. It means so much for these kids to get this type of exposure and be talked about and people really care about what's going on in their lives. And I just want to say thank you for myself and Cane Ridge High School and the NEI community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Get some sleep and keep James Reese keep James Reese out of the way.
I'll do my best. Thanks so much.
All right.
That was Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe out in Chapel Hill. Again, Renee Hart and the folks out there doing a fantastic job keeping you fed with great burgers, great sandwiches, and the best desserts that you can find. Come back with us as we'll talk a little SEC hoops, but we have a deal. It's done. Major League Baseball is back. So, yeah. How about that? Had to wear my gear today. Make sure that Let's get into
what's our guy? Our play-by-play guy over in Marshall County.
Oh, I don't know his name.
I can't think of what's his phrase though.
Look at there.
Look at there.
I can't believe it, folks. We'll talk about it in this show specifically, but we'll also get into SEC hoops and more on the other side of Main Street Sports today. You guys come back with us. Thanks. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Check out the Full Court Press podcast with Zach Womble, a Sumner County sports podcast, weekly, dropping Thursdays at noon Central. Zach covers high school sports all across Sumner County. A couple of teams in the state tournament, girls and boys. He's got it all covered. Check him out online at mainstreetpreps.com. And the podcast where he breaks it down, the sectional round wins, the state tournament games, previews it all. It's Zach Womble on the Full Court Press podcast, dropping every Thursday on all of these Main Street Media social platforms at noon and anywhere you get your podcast. Full Court Press podcast with Zach Womble. Back to Mo and Chris.
So Gleason pretty well drubbed Clay County in the second half, 55-39 in the final. So the Lady Bulldogs from Gleason advanced to take on the winner of McKenzie and North Green. Saw Gleason in that tournament over at Richland earlier this year, and they were really good.
They were really good. I saw them in the finals of that tournament against Summertown. Actually. So, yeah, they are good. And Gleason, the home of one former Vanderbilt point guard, Ashley McElhaney.
Gleason, the home of world banjo champion Mike Snyder.
Yeah, that too.
My favorite song of his is called Snuff Dipper, talking about his wife. And the first line of the song is over there in Gleason, Tennessee, when I was born and raised. So that's the only reason I know where he's from.
Wow. Well, there you go. Little name check for Gleason.
Snuff Dipper?
That's the name of the song,
Yeah,
and
okay.
it's a love song.
His wife.
Yeah, his wife was
Snuff
a
Dipper.
Snuff Dipper.
Snuff Dipper. She'll make you a wonderful wife.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's phenomenal.
My great grandmother used to dip snuff.
Hey,
It's a whole different breed.
It really is.
Yeah.
Do they even make that anymore?
what, just
Snuff?
regular? I mean, I know women who dip.
Probably.
I mean, there's some country music singers out there who are.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Anyway,
Can we move on?
I mean, we can. We can always move on.
Let's do.
Well, Jeff Passan tweets that Major League Baseball and the MLB PA have reached a tentative agreement on a new labor deal. It still has to be ratified. As soon as it's ratified, though, players can sign, can be traded. All the things can happen.
So, airline phone lines are getting blown up right about now with folks trying to get to Florida and Arizona, I guess, for spring training.
Probably.
For the guys that fly commercial, I guess.
For those guys.
Yeah, for those guys.
At least their minimum pay has jacked up to like $700K.
So they can
probably afford it at this point.
They can afford a quick one-way ticket.
Yeah. Bob Nightingale says full season, full pay. Season will begin extended 3 days with double headers to make up for the April 7th opening day.
So what this means is apparently your defending world champion Atlanta Braves will open the 2022 season at Truist Field.
Will they?
I believe so.
April 7th. That's a really good question. I don't know the answer to that, but we can look it up real quick.
I believe that to be accurate.
April 15th at the White Sox. from. So, but that again, this is taking off of MLB.com. Well, this is April 15th. The season is starting April 7th. They had initially canceled that week of games, so I don't know what those games were.
Okay. I believe they will be at home.
You're probably right, but I do not know the answer for absolute certainty. But yeah, so April 7th versus Cincinnati. That's it. Reds at Truist Park. So look at there. Look at there.
April 7th is on a.
That's a good question. April
Thursday.
It's a Thursday.
What time is that game?
7:20. We can make
6:20 here.
Yeah, we can make it. Buy your tickets now, folks.
So those airline ticket phone lines aren't the only ones blowing up then, probably.
Yeah, probably not. I'm sure there's some team office, some box offices who are taking some phone calls right now. There's no question. This is pretty interesting because the full vote of the players went against the executive committee. The players voted 26-12
to take the deal,
according to Evan Drellich of the
and
Athletic.
the executive committee voted to not take the deal.
The executive committee voted not to take the deal.
Well,
so
that ought to make for some interesting clubhouses.
I really think two of the Mets players were pretty adamant that they didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, as much money as they've spent so far, I feel like they have no right to talk. So it doesn't matter, man. MLB is back. Players will start reporting as early as tomorrow to spring training, where some teams have already.
Oh yeah, if you're not
going,
if you're not on the 40 man, you could go. And most organizations have more guys that aren't on it than are. So
well, it's funny. I saw a Braves lineup that in the eight hole in right field it said Morton, and I was like, well, that's one way to rehab a broken leg is run out in the outfield and Charlie Morton's out there just running around. I don't think that's the case.
Wrong Morton. I feel pretty sure.
So, all right, there you have it. We have a deal. That's exciting. I don't want to get too far into basketball. So let's talk about this Deion Sanders news because he sounds off. John Bryce, friend of the show, had a story a couple days ago on footballscoop.com. Deion Sanders.
That's Coach Prime to you.
Coach Prime said, where did the money go that Forbes reported last year companies had pledged to black communities? And most of it hasn't materialized. He said there are $50 billion that companies pledged toward black communities, including HBCUs. And he said, where did the change go? I haven't seen any change. I want to know, where did it go? I'm hearing all these endowments to these HBCUs, but I don't see it. Somebody raise their hand, say, okay, we did get the check and this is what we did. I just haven't heard that yet. And then he goes into talking about these classics being a hustle, which, I mean, it probably does pay some people who don't necessarily need to be paid. But back in the day, that was the best way to get the most fans into a football stadium to watch these games.
People were getting paid to do the work of putting on a football game that the schools didn't want to do.
Right. They didn't want to go home and home.
And taking the classic that apparently is the biggest thorn in
Coach
Deion's side, the Southern Heritage Classic, folks from Jackson didn't want to drive to Nashville every other year. Folks from Nashville didn't want to drive to Jackson every other year. But everybody wants to go to Memphis, including me.
Why would you not?
Why would you not?
Including JP. Sure. JP wants to go to Memphis too.
Let's go to Memphis.
Hey, Rendezvous in Memphis.
Oh,
this is our thing.
Memphis.
Yeah.
Beale Street's in Memphis.
The Peabody Hotel Bar. Yeah.
Go watch the Ducks.
The Ducks.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Come on.
Who doesn't want to go to Memphis?
Come on. Memphis.
Yeah. So
I've seen
So,
the
I
bright
mean-
lights in Memphis and the Commodore Hotel.
Yep. That's right.
Sorry.
but I mean, for Dion to kick on that is just a little odd.
Okay, but here's what I want to say about Coach Prime, and this is going to show you exactly what Coach Prime thinks of HBCUs and Jackson State as a whole. This is what he thinks. They are building a cafeteria for football players only so that they can, quote, be self-encompassing with ourselves instead of sharing it with another sport. Now get out of here. That tells me all I need to know about what Coach Prime thinks.
Sharing it with another sport.
He don't want to share. But
Shocking.
you calling everybody else a hustle. Coach Prime need to get on. I'm not taking it anymore from this guy. He's on my nerve. The last one I got, he's on it. That's singular nerve.
One. Found it. Got on it. Yep.
Folks, it's halftime, and we're going to take a quick break here. So y'all come back with us, and we will talk about SEC hoops in the second half since we didn't get a chance to do this one. So come back on Main Street Sports today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee. Because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Welcome back in. It's halftime. And I didn't hear about this in January. Did you guys hear about Ryan Coogler?
I have not heard about it until here over the last couple of days.
So
I think it somehow stayed hush hush
until now.
Yeah.
Ryan
It's
Coogler.
not hush hush now.
No, who is the director for the movie The Black Panther.
Okay.
Was apparently handcuffed January 7th inside of a Bank of America and mistaken for a bank robber.
Wow.
They thought the man was robbing the bank.
Was he in costume?
No.
Was he wearing the Black Panther costume?
No, he was in street clothes. Apparently, he was trying to make a 5-figure withdrawal from his account.
Okay.
He gave his ID.
Yeah.
He gave his Bank of America debit card. He gave his PIN number. He wrote out a withdrawal and said, I need you to be discreet about this, because he didn't want everybody in the bank to know that he was getting
10 grand.
Yeah, or more.
It was 10.
12.
Well,
I think
okay,
it
it
was.
just said more than 10. Okay, I'm
Mhm.
sorry.
Yeah. And so the teller decided that he was suspicious and called the cops. Rather than looking at his ID.
Where they found an SUV parked out front.
They found an SUV out front with two
With a
people
driver
who were
in it.
with him. Yeah.
Look, if you take everything but the ID out, I can see it. But this is simple.
Well, it's
the man handed you his identification.
How many robbers do that? Here,
not smart ones. Not smart ones, Mo. and
just so you can tell the cops my name.
That's right. I want you to spell it correctly when you book me. And here's the thing, though. When the police come, how could they not decipher at that point, rationally say, okay, ID, okay, this is who you say you are.
Before
you
him in
put it in
cuffs.
handcuffs. Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's a little much.
It's a lot much.
Yeah.
The note says, first off, it says, do not write in this area. Where he writes.
Was it on the back of a check?
I would like to withdraw $12,000 cash.
That
from
was
my
his
checking
problem,
account.
Mo.
That's it.
Please do the money counter somewhere else. I'd like to be discreet. But y'all, look,
$12,000 from my checking account.
My
I
account.
didn't say I wanted to take $12,000 from your bank.
That's the thing. It's like
I'm good for the money. All you got to do is pull it up on the computer. It's there. You know, I'm asking for my money, not your money, and I get handcuffed.
Oh,
See, this is that stuff.
y'all. I cannot fathom handing someone my identification and saying
my bank
my
card.
account, and here's everything you need to
And wind it up in
give me my money.
cuffs. Give me my money. You can't fathom that. There's no reason for you to fathom that.
Well, we can't fathom that because $12,000.
Well, there's
There
that
is
too.
that.
But I mean, it blows my mind. Here's the thing: the teller was also a black woman. That's why none of this makes sense in my head. Like I cannot wrap my brain around. But anyway, it's just the reason I bring it is just funny because
Well, it's funny unless you're Ryan Coogler.
Well, it's funny now. You know, you look back and you go, well, that's ridiculous. But the fact that he did everything he could possibly do to
avoid that situation,
not end up in that situation, and yet
wound up in it anyway.
God, that's wild.
There you go.
I hate we missed it on Wild and Wacky Wednesday. But anyway, we have a whole entire second half to get to. It's going to be a lot of fun. So y'all stick with us here on Main Street Sports today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Time for the second half of Main Street Sports today on this Thursday edition. We'll talk SEC tournament. First night in the books. Vandy and Mizzou winners last night. We'll also be joined by Heather Williams, WCYB-TV out of Bristol, talk a little NASCAR as they're back in action, revving up for the weekend. And a little Titans news as well. Has some more player personnel coming and goings. All of that and more. Right now on Main Street Sports today, back to the Hall of Famer Mo Patton and the Sundrop Kid from Alabama, Chris Yao. Baseball is back, fellas.
Please,
I know you're excited.
Please refer only to me as fan of the world champion Atlanta Braves, Chris Yao.
Here we go. I'll work on that intro tomorrow. Yes.
Yes. In fact, you might just want to tape.
Are you relieving your 2006 Person of the Year honor now?
So now that we are where we are, I think we may have to mess with the Twitter bio for a minute. We'll see what happens.
All right. Have fun.
My cover picture on there is a picture of Charlie from like that first little photo shoot we had. And I'm like, oh, man, she's so tiny. I got to figure something out. It's insane. Let's talk some SEC hoops. Where are we at now? First off, let's give an update on Middle Tennessee State women and Southern Miss at halftime. Lady Raiders 32, Lady Golden Eagles 24. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. LSU
Rick Insel going for career victory number 401.
There you go. LSU Missouri in the SEC tournament now, and good one in Tampa. It's LSU 32, Missouri 9 with 6:26 to go in the first half. So Quando Martin finding out what Will Wade does after getting
the memorandum of
acknowledgement. I think that's what it was. They were given a memo saying
They were given some sort of memo, yeah.
y'all done messed up. That's what it says in specifically. And so Will Wade is now trying to save his job by beating Missouri
by hammering folks. Yeah.
like a dog.
Yeah.
Beating the Missouri Tigers, kind of like Joe Exotic used to do out in Oklahoma.
By the way, quick note on Joe Exotic. Jody and I started watching Joe versus Carol last night on Peacock.
Okay.
With Kate McKinnon as Carol Baskin.
Mhm.
Fantastic. Joe versus Carol. I urge you to watch it.
So I keep seeing it.
Yeah.
But right now, I didn't realize that Chicago PD was back. So, like, I'm 3 episodes behind. So, like, I'm trying to catch up on Chicago PD and Bull. So,
how's Hank doing?
Well, he's
not well.
He's hanging in there for now.
Jeez.
I'm only 1 episode back.
Okay.
Listen, Kev has just told his girlfriend that he's a police officer and she's kicked him out. This is where I'm at.
She was none too happy.
She was not happy.
Yeah.
So anyway, this show goes so many directions, but
I feel like my grandmother talking about her stories.
Her stories. Exactly what we're doing here.
Daytime stories.
And
stories.
And I'm exactly. It is a hard O every time.
Stories.
I guess I mean I say LSU's gonna take care of business here. It was
32-9. You said.
Well, it was it was a little closer in that earlier game, and it was 2 more evenly matched teams, but.
Yeah. And neither of those teams had played the night before.
There is that.
Literally the night before.
And how important is that for Vanderbilt? One, Vanderbilt playing the late game tonight, so they still have 24 hours between games, but also they were up so big that they were able to rest some of their starters.
Yeah, they were able to get Pippen off his feet. They were able to get Rodney Chapman off his feet and kind of preserve that hamstring a little bit. And yeah, I think that's huge that they were able to win that game and rest some folks because they're going to need it.
Yeah, tonight against Alabama, against a team that here's the thing though, Alabama kind of lives and dies by the 3. So this is a team that Vanderbilt can beat, as we talked to Teresa Walker yesterday about it. They've got 2 or 3 ball players who can match up with anybody in the SEC.
And here's the thing. Living by the 3, playing your first game in an arena that you're not terribly familiar with. I don't know how many shots they will have been able to get up there, but we talked to Wes Long of Summertown earlier this week about going into a different environment. Now some of that is offset. I mean, maybe it's not as big a deal going from Coleman Coliseum to this arena in Tampa, but still it's a different shooting environment, a different shooting background. And when you rely as much on the 3 ball as Alabama does, it could be a feast or famine type situation. The fact that Vanderbilt has played a game in there, has a little bit more familiarity with it, feels a little bit more comfortable, maybe to their advantage.
Very well could.
And certainly Vanderbilt feels like this is a matchup that is to their advantage because they've said as much.
I mean, it absolutely does. This is a 2-point game less than 16 days ago.
Yeah. And
sorry, I forget there's only 28 days
in February.
16 days ago, they lost 74-72 to this Alabama team. They absolutely feel like this is a game they can win.
And here's the thing. There's one thing feeling that way. I'm not sure I would be as boisterous in saying it as they have been because surely Alabama's hearing it as well.
I'm sure they are, but again, this is not a team who has fared well against lesser opponents.
But this is a team that has fared fairly well against greater opponents.
They have. But
so
when you play to your competition and you have a team like Vanderbilt who is, 16-15, 7-11 in conference, I don't have any confidence that Alabama is going to come out and play LSU style here. I have zero confidence in the University of Alabama basketball team of being able to put a team away the way that they should. And anybody who does, I would like to know your reasoning for that confidence. And most Alabama fans on my Twitter account, same thing. They're like, man, I would rather be playing Kentucky today than Vanderbilt. So
you know what the biggest surprise out of last night is? Apparently Tom Crean still has a job.
Does he?
I've not heard otherwise.
I mean, there were sources out there saying that the SEC tournament was going to be his final game, but nobody official.
But it hasn't been announced yet. Is my thing.
Nobody official.
Shoot, I thought Georgia would be handing out releases down press row at the end of the game last night.
And yet,
here
we are 24 hours later and nothing. Let's talk some NASCAR. No, we'll get to Heather Williams on the other side of the break from out in Bristol.
It's Bristol, baby.
We'll be talking Phoenix, though. So come back with us on Main Street Sports Today. We'll be back. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Welcome back into Main Street Sports Today. Chris Yao, Mo Patton, JP Plant here with you on this Thursday edition. It is 3 o'clock. Ring the bells. The school is out. So this morning, I go to Spring Hill to do a couple stories. One of them being on an arcade. And by arcade, this is a little different from what, we grew up going to. But they do have
what we grew up going to.
I grew up going to arcades.
Yeah.
I played NBA Jam.
Explain yourself.
I played NBA Jam and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on arcade games, okay?
Okay.
What was the objective of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
You fight
On an
evil.
To
arcade
fight
game.
Shredder.
Yeah.
Gotta kick Shredder's behind, man. Anyway.
Root out the evil in whatever city that was.
Long story short, it was New York.
Was it New York? Just
Yeah.
straight up New York?
Straight up New York. They were on New York,
Yeah, they couldn't do Gotham because that was already taken.
There you go. So I go in there and there are television screens on the walls and just like 10 of them. You can play 4 players, 2 screens, multi-screen. It was just crazy. But you could also go over there and play the joystick games like Pac-Man and that Paperboy, all that kind of stuff. He takes me to this room and it's like It looks like the storage closet, except in there is an iRacing rig.
Okay.
And he's like, "You want to hop in this thing?" I'm like, "I absolutely want to hop in this thing." So we take
I
off.
thought you'd never
Yeah.
ask. Yeah.
This thing moves, y'all. I'm like, every turn,
Like a
So it's like a
simulator.
simulator.
Huh?
it is a straight simulator. It is the coolest thing I've ever been a
Do
part
you
of.
feel the G-force?
That's the only thing. There's no
Yeah.
wind
No pressure.
or anything. So because it's open air. Anyway, 4.23 mile time trial through the mountains of Spain in dirt road, another off-road game. Took me 9 minutes and 40 seconds because I crashed a lot. So I don't think I will be joining any iRacing leagues to take on our friend Joe Williams. I texted him and told him, don't worry about me. But
I'll tell you who could probably hold their own in that, though.
who's that?
WCYB-TV's Heather Williams could probably hold her own.
She
in
could
that.
certainly beat 9 minutes and 40 seconds in 4.23 miles. Heather, how are you?
I want you all to know that I have a NASCAR game for my gaming system, which is a little archaic. It's a Wii. I played one season with it. I was so bad. I really thought that Denny Hamlin was going to come and sue me for defamation of character. Like,
That's so good. I have a Wii too, and it's my favorite gaming console, Heather, so don't feel bad.
But I do think that that place might have to be in my agenda if I make it up there for state basketball. If any of our teams from our area make it into the championship game, I might have to check that out.
Come on.
What teams are in your area?
For the boys next week, we have Greenville.
That's right.
Hampton, Dobbin Bennett, and I think North Green.
Yes, North Green.
North Green.
I know
is
girls
in
are
it.
in it. I don't know about boys.
No, boys are in it as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Here, I got a question about Greenville. That dunk from the other night that made Sports Center's top 10 at number 4. How irate was that coach, or was he?
The Greenville coach?
Yeah, over the bounced ball to the rim for Jacoby Gillespie to slam.
I don't think he was mad at all. We actually went out and talked to them about that in a story that one of my colleagues is putting together for tonight. I read over it. I don't think he was mad at all. Now, the funny thing about that is it's going to be in our story that's running tonight. They'd never practiced that before. Well, let's put it this way. They'd never done it successfully before.
wow.
Well, they did it successfully Monday night, and ESPN found it. So yeah.
It was something else.
Before we get into NASCAR, I wanted to ask you what the heck happened to Tennessee high school football coach? That was crazy. He just up and leaves 2 minutes later.
Yeah, I don't really know the story behind it. I've heard some rumors, but I don't know anything on the record that I'm comfortable sharing. If Mo wants to text me, I can tell him, but it's just rumors. I don't really know. I honestly, the last time I talked to someone out there, everybody was happy and everything was going well. So I'm not really sure what the word is.
I will be texting you. But did he go? Did he go back to University of the Cumberlands? Not to be confused with Cumberland University, or do we know?
I don't think he has a job currently. No.
Jeez,
I don't believe so.
That is something,
and it might be a while before it gets going at this rate. Anyway,
he can go to the Canadian League. I hear they take high school coaches
that does seem to be a thing.
Middle of the year.
Or USFL, that's where a lot of people that can't get hired anywhere else go.
Anyway,
she's out here coming in hot.
Yep.
Why do you want to do me like that?
Did I say that out loud?
Heather, I'm a USFL fanatic. Stop.
I mean, but did I say the quiet part aloud? I mean, I don't think that's a secret.
He's already dead.
Heather, NASCAR cranks back up this weekend.
Come on.
Leave it to Mo to transition to NASCAR. That's impressive.
Yeah, right.
With a pun.
We
Well
got to get off
done.
of this.
Yeah. That's why he's a Hall of Famer.
What are your thoughts as we head west again this weekend?
Well, we're headed to Phoenix, and it's the first short track of the season. They raced at the Coliseum, but that wasn't really like what they normally do. Is way shorter than the normal tracks. And I talked to a number of drivers about Phoenix, and they think that this car is going to give the best racing on the short track. That's going to be where it actually shines. So when you think about how good the first 3 races of the year have been, to think that there's something even better on the horizon gets me super excited.
The reason that is, Mo, is because they're not going to be going as fast, and tires aren't going to just pop randomly, hopefully, as they drive these short tracks. I assume that's what the hope and expectation is for Sunday, because the tires right now, you just driving and boom, like you're driving down the interstate and a tire falls off.
Well, they don't have any inner liner like the old tires did. So when they pop, you're done. Like, you can't drive it. You can't roll forward. You have to be towed back, which has been resulting in people losing multiple laps. So, yeah. And the other thing is that it's going to be easier for these guys to find their edge on the short track. They don't really know the limits of these cars because cause all the spin outs and some of the tire issues, but that's less of a thing on the short tracks. Like, you can just race. So I think that's another reason why the drivers are super optimistic about this weekend.
So, as pointed out so eloquently just now by JP, I'm not the biggest NASCAR guy, but as I read about the Ralph Mortgage 500 this weekend, it describes the 1 mile D-shaped oval. Now, is that telling me that a couple of these corners are going to be sharper than the other two? What does the D-shaped oval mean?
So basically, the front stretch it's not a perfect oval. The front stretch has a little, what people refer to sometimes as a dog leg. It like that bows out. So it's not a perfect oval. It's got like a little thing. And so that's why they refer to those as D-shaped, because that front stretch has got that dog leg in it.
So yes, turn 2 and turn 3 are a little less sharp. I'm sorry, are more sharp than 1 and 4, because
because you're making closer to a 90-degree turn in 2 of those and in the other 2.
Right. So it
correct.
It's really interesting to be able to do that in a 1 mile track too. It's unusual.
Okay.
That's why some people don't consider Phoenix a short track. They consider it more of an intermediate. I think most of the drivers consider it short track, but because of that dog leg and that D shape, some people don't consider it a true short track.
I mean, it's not Pocono or anything where it goes all the way out, but it's pretty close.
Right.
I love this fact. 6 races, 6 different winners in the last 6 times out in Phoenix. So.
Yeah, but I don't know that that's going to stay based on who won it the last time. So that was Kyle Larson. But yeah, it's a track. I mean, because of its kind of short track nature, it's a track where, in the past, teams can be more competitive even if they don't have the intermediate speed. Like if a team's struggling, like say Roush, or like Penske was a little bit last year in the speed department, you can still go to Phoenix and win, right? You don't need all the horsepower. So I think that contributes a lot to why so many drivers can be successful there.
You mentioned Kyle Larson. He is currently the points leader in the series. And if, for folks like Chris who don't mind wagering, apparently he's the 4-1 favorite this weekend.
I'm staying away from Kyle Larson because I don't know what Chase Elliott may or may not have up his sleeve after last week. So, and their teammates.
I don't think that Rick Hendrick will let there be any retaliation. I mean, that's all fine and dandy if you're going out and wrecking Denny Hamlin, but I don't think Rick wants his cars wrecking each other. So I don't think that'll be a concern. I just don't know what to win by betting Larson. I mean, there can't be a ton of money in it, right? He's a pretty heavy favorite.
Yeah, you got to bet high to get anything out of it, and I'm certainly not going to do that. It's interesting though, Toyotas haven't won in the last 8 races, which is a very long winless streak for them. And but like you said, this is one of those places where everybody's going to be kind of bunched up. One, because the cars are so similar, and it's going to be one of those where the really good drivers who can push you out of the way are going to be the ones who have the best opportunity, which means that Kyle Busch has a really good chance to win.
I agree. I think Kyle Busch is somebody you got to keep your eye on. I think the guy out of the Toyota camp you really want to keep your eye on this weekend is Denny Hamlin. He's good at the short track. He really needs a good run. He's 30th in points right now. That's unheard of. And he has a good history at Phoenix. He runs very well there. So I think when you combine those three, I think out of the Toyota camp, he's by far the most desperate guy, and that makes him dangerous.
Oh, there's no question there. So when Denny Hamlin gets dangerous, it gets wild for sure. And Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin have both won here in the last 6 races. So there's that.
Yeah, it's a very good track for Joe Gibbs Racing for sure.
Speaking of Joe Gibbs Racing, his grandson got a little crazy in the Xfinity race last week, didn't he? Or was that the what race was that? Was it the Xfinity race or the truck race?
It was the Xfinity race. It was the Xfinity race, yeah. Here's the thing about Ty Gibbs. Super talented, not a care in the world. Right?
Yeah, because his granddad owns the team. What are you going to do, fire him?
Well, he's also like 17 years old, right? I mean, think about what you were when you were 17 years old. I mean, you did not care. But I think that, that's not really the way Joe likes his teams to operate. So I do believe he'll rein that in a little bit. Now, how much he listens to his granddad is a completely different story. But he's uber talented. I mean, he was only going to run a couple of Xfinity Series races last year and run full-time ARCA, which is what he ended up doing, but he ended up winning like 3 times. I mean, that's crazy. He's incredibly talented.
He's certainly talented, but he does not mind pushing some folks out of the way if necessary. So
if you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing, right?
That's what they
say. He's probably a little bit closer to Kyle Busch than Joe Gibbs.
There you go. That is a very good analogy, Heather.
It's interesting, Heather, that you mentioned Denny Hamlin is 30th in points through 3 races, while the car that he owns, quote, Bubba Wallace is 10th.
Yeah, and Bubba, the thing is that's important to Bubba this season is going to be being good at tracks where he's not normally good. And he's been able to manage 2 tracks that he's not great at. His finishes at Fontana and Vegas were not great, but he was able to manage some bad-ish runs and some not great cars and some bad luck and keep himself up in the top 10 in points. We're getting to a point now. He's good on short track, so we've got Bristol, Martinsville, and Phoenix coming up, which should be all good tracks for him, where if he can put together some really good finishes, then you can start to look at him as a true contender to make the playoffs and maybe even make a run at the championship 4. But the biggest key for him, and he's done it so far this year, is managing those tracks he's not good at. Because in the past, he'll run great at tracks, but the track that he's bad at, he's bad. And that's not a formula of success. But so far, so good. He's done a really good job.
Yeah, last week was an unfortunate occurrence with a lot of really good cars got knocked out last week in that Pennzoil 400. So, I'm looking forward to this weekend, Sunday, March 13th, 2:30 Central Time, Phoenix Raceway in Avondale. That's Nashville Superspeedway in
Gladeville,
in Lebanon, Gladeville. Yeah. So, anyway.
Well, I mean, the Chicago Speedway used to be in Joliet, which is even crazier. So
there you go. I mean, it is what it is. But looking forward to it. It's going to be a fantastic race because again, it is the first short track of the year, and we finally get to see what these cars can do in short track racing, and I am fired up about it. So, Heather, thank you for taking some time with us, and we look forward to talking with you again soon. Keep those dunks coming out there because they were fun to watch, but bring them with you when you come out here next week.
I hope to. I absolutely hope to. Thanks, guys. It's fun, as always.
All right. When we come back, Titans making some roster moves, making money moves. So stick with us on Main Street Sports today. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Main Street Today is your half-hour coffee break with the one and only Devin O'Day, featuring lifestyle, inspiration, and entertainment news. Main Street Today airs live weekdays at 11 a.m. Central, or you can catch it on demand on all of the Main Street Media social platforms, including highlights on Instagram at Main Street Today Radio. Take your daily coffee break with Devin O'Day on Main Street Today, weekdays at 11 a.m. on Main Street Media social platforms. Back to a couple of shiny outlook fellas. Here's Mo and Chris.
We are happy today. Remember, Devin O'Day, not to be confused with Danny O'Shea of the Little Giants fame.
Icebox?
Icebox's uncle.
Okay, there we go.
Played by Al Bundy.
Yeah, it could be the other way around.
Ed O'Neill.
Oh, no, Al Bundy. You know, we talk a lot about TV on this show for whatever reasons, but, you know, have you guys noticed a lack of sitcom style shows like we used to see in the 90s?
Oh, yeah, there aren't as many.
It kind of stinks. Everything's drama.
It does kind of stink.
Like even the Modern Family with Ed O'Neill, like it's not the same. It's like a documentary sitcom.
Well, I'll tell you, there's one that I've not had a chance to watch, and I'm not even sure that it's necessarily sitcom in the sense that you're talking about. But Abbott Elementary on ABC.
I've heard good things. I've not seen it.
I haven't seen it. I'd like to watch it, but yeah, that falls into the classic category of sitcom.
There just aren't that many out there, and I miss those days. I mean, I wish I could turn on the TV and watch Seinfeld, Friends, Martin,
Cheers,
Fresh Prince,
Frasier,
and Lord knows we could use something to laugh at these
right?
days.
Yep.
Why has everything got to be so deadgum serious?
Oh, man,
why so serious?
Yeah.
Middle Tennessee State women up 49-38 on Southern Miss right now.
How much time?
2:30 to go in the third quarter. So,
and LSU is up at halftime, 39-23 over Missouri.
16 points. That seems good for Missouri.
Yeah,
they closed on.
Well, it seems better than 23.
14-7 run. It was 32-9.
Mm-hmm.
So they doubled them up in that last 5 minutes there.
Well, maybe they can come out in the second half like they did last night, 11-0 run against Ole Miss, and that was the difference.
That was the difference in the game. Yeah,
12-point game. So,
anyway, before we get into the Titans, the largest soccer-specific stadium in the United States and Canada resides here in Nashville. The 30,000-seat Nashville Soccer Club Stadium is with every seat within 150 feet of the playing surface, by the way.
Okay.
They built these seats straight up. Like, straight up.
Wow.
Not a bad seat in the house.
Wow.
Has been named Geodis Park.
Spell that.
Geodis. Geodis.
So,
all caps, by the way.
God bless you.
Right. So Geodis is headquartered in Brentwood.
Okay.
They are a global supply chain operator. So how they have money to do anything right now is beyond me.
That's a fair question.
The first game inside Geodis Park is May 1st against the Philadelphia Union. 20,000 season tickets have been sold. All private suites and boxes are sold out for the season. I fully expect this to be the next new thing, much like the Preds in their last, over the last few years has just been insanity. I expect this is going to be very similar.
Well, and it makes sense too. I mean, you think about all the youth soccer leagues that have blown up over the last 20 years. All of those that played growing up, kind of first generation soccer, are having kids that are playing soccer, and so the two combined are getting into this, and it appears to be a fairly reasonable entry level point of getting tickets and following, much more so than the NFL, certainly more than the Predators and the NHL. So it's a little bit easier entry point, I think, financially speaking.
It is.
Yeah.
This is going to be really cool to watch. And look, here's the thing: they're good.
Yeah.
Like straight out of the box, they're good.
That does help.
So
I mean, it gives you instant credibility in the market.
Yep.
So
well, we saw the Music City Miracle. I mean, look what that did.
Yeah. I mean, that was the beginning.
I mean, you're good early in your new market. Yeah. You're good for at least 10, 15 years.
At least.
Got a grace period. Yeah.
And then you got to do something else.
You got to do something, but
then you got to build a $2 billion stadium, huh?
I guess. Could you imagine, as a journalist, you're waiting on the biggest story that you've written about in a long time, right? We're say it's, I don't know, I can't really, there's not really much else that I can compare this to, but if, say, Columbia Central was hiring a football coach.
Okay.
Say that's the biggest news story, whatever.
Yeah,
I can't think of what else would be.
That's pretty big.
It's a pretty big deal around here. You're about ready to announce this, and then your Twitter gets hacked. That's what happened to Jeff Passan today. This isn't. Hey, remember the time I got hacked on the biggest news day of my life? Man, like that's incredible. I could not imagine what his emotion would have been like having gotten locked out of his account.
How did he not throw a phone?
Oh, there are multiple phones broken right now, guaranteed. Man, God. Anyway, I just thought that was that would be gut punch. Gut punch.
I was thinking a little lower, but
sure, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Roger Saffold out.
All pro.
Kendall Lamb out. Which leaves only two people on the starting offensive line who are under contract, and they're on both ends.
The two tackles?
Two tackles.
I saw somebody speculating on Twitter. Does this mean that Reduns is moving down?
I don't think so. Aaron Brewer could be, but he's kind of undersized. So I'm not sure if there is a plan or if
on the roster,
or if it's going to be
a free agent
or draft pick. I can't imagine they're going to be they're going to draft, because if they didn't feel like Radens was ready last year, why would they think a
rookie is going to be ready this year?
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, Radens, I think, is absolutely capable of playing the tackle position, but I only think he's capable of playing the left tackle position. He was not very good at right tackle, but he played very well in replacement of Taylor Lewan. We're saving $10.44 million against the cap by getting rid of Saffold, and another $3 million from
Lamb.
Kendall Lamb. So I don't know that they have the ability to get a free agent who is capable, because if you're going to sign, if you're going to use money, just sign the guys you got.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the plan is. I mean, I trust J-Rob. I'm going to let him do his thing. Outside of Isaiah Wilson, offensive linemen have been pretty good for him. So I'm going to give him his time. I'm just really curious how this is going to work out, because the offensive line is the key to this offense working. It's the key to any offense working.
Well, it's a key to any offense working, but it's particularly a key to this offense working, because you got to keep Tannehill upright, and you got to give 22 some room.
You've got to make sure 22 can get to the line of scrimmage. As long as he's not hitting the backfield, he's going to get 4 yards.
So,
and more times than not, it's going to be double-digit yards, as long as he's not hitting the backfield.
Right.
Even sometimes when he is hitting the backfield, but if he gets to the line of scrimmage, it's bad news.
Yeah, you're good.
So you've got to figure out a way to shore up that line, and I just don't know what the plan is. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what J-Rob has up his sleeve, because I certainly don't think he would have told Saffold, "Hey, you're gone," without having some sort of plan in place. So it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be interesting.
Darrington Evans also out.
I don't think he ever really materialized like they expected him to. And with
Foreman's performance last year, why do you need Darrington Evans? You don't. So
and number 40, the kid Hilliard, from LSU, I think. I don't remember where he's from.
I don't know,
but it's Hilliard, I think.
That is his last name.
Yes, yeah, that kid.
I mean, those two have got to come back.
You would think.
So, one guy said, "Heck, I forgot he was on the roster." Evans.
Ouch.
So I mean, that just goes to show how good that backfield is. As long as the line can hold up, I'm interested. Anyway, y'all come back tomorrow. It should be great fun as always. Chris Lee of Southeastern 14 will join us. We'll be talking more about Major League Baseball. We'll be talking more about Southeastern Conference football. Plenty to get into. Southeastern Conference basketball. Where did I get football from?
I don't know where you got
I guess we can talk
from.
football. I'm sure there's something out there.
Oh, I'm sure you're right.
Anyway, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on this Thursday. Come back tomorrow when we get you ready for the weekend of the sports. Plenty to talk about. For JP and Mo, I'm Chris Yao saying have a great day. See you tomorrow.